Thank you for the introduction. Welcome everyone to our Q&A webinar, which myself and Brad host. I'm very excited to have you here. It's going to be a fantastic show. Brad, how's your audio?
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm certain that you have no idea what's coming.
Well, no, we haven't talked in quite a while, so no, it's good. It's good that it'll be a surprise. It's always entertaining.
So listen, everyone, we are here to do a couple of things. Number one, disclaim all responsibility for anything that we do legally. Here it is. Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor. All the information that you're going to hear from myself, Brad, Scott, Barry, anyone from Trade Ideas should not be construed as investment advice. If you seek specific investment advice tailored to your specific needs, please consult a registered investment advisor. Okay, Brad, are you ready to go?
Legalese out of the way. Let's go, bud.
Let's do this. Because we have a lot of people on the webinar here who don't know who we are and are new to this.
Bo and Luke, huh?
My job, Brad, is to entertain and educate at the same time. And I really thought that there was no better world to talk about in terms of trade ideas as it was the Dukes of Hazzard. So everyone, our life is Hazard County. It's a very deep metaphor. Lots of words have deep meanings, right, Brad? We live, Brad, in Hazard County. And so from what, hopefully you guys are not all like 20 years old. Do you guys, some of you know what the Dukes of Hazzard is, right?
Well, they did do a remake, right? So I think even the guys that missed it.
But you and I are the original Duke boys.
That's right. There's only one original, right?
So do you guys, hello, question people, you guys can type, do you guys know about the Duke boys? All right, thanks, Phil. All right, guys. No, Joshua, please look it up. No, look at the nose, Brad.
They're just a couple.
So cute. Okay, so in this webinar and in Trade Ideas, Brad and I are the Duke boys. I'm Bo. I'm your charismatic leader, and Brad's Luke over there, the chief operating officer, and he gets stuff done. Also, hell of a shot with a bow and arrow.
It's a wrench in my hands, right?
We're going back to the original. So this is your Trade Ideas team. Now, our technology is done by the best mechanic in Hazard. Do you guys see what I'm saying? The best mechanic in Hazard. Remember, Hazard is life. Mr. Philip Smolin is a gifted autistic genius who has written and works on the Trade Ideas Code daily. And our wonderful support team, Brad, Marissa, who is about to come back to it from being pregnant, and lots of other team members. But, we're a family knit organization. Wouldn't you agree, Brad?
I would agree. I'm with you so far.
And oftentimes, Phil and Marissa actually have lunch. But this is to understand. So Philip works on our technology. So this is our tech. And you guys need to understand this because this is a very important metaphor as it relates to your life, our life, Hazard County. Brad, what's the best machine in Hazard County?
It's a General Lee, which I think Bubba owns it now, right? We need to get that back from him.
Don't throw real life into, see, there goes Brad. He didn't know what was going on, throwing real life right into metaphors. Brad, so our technology, the Trade Ideas technology, the reason you are here, the reason you are on the test drive is because, ladies and gentlemen, this is truth. We have created, we own the General. Our artificial intelligence is the General Lee of FinTech. Now, think about this in Dukes of Hazzard terms. Who owns the General Lee? The Duke boys, Dan and Brad. And we use the General Lee to solve all sorts of problems. Brad, don't we?
We do. That's what we're here for.
And when we solve them, what you see is a lot of what you see in that picture. People taking pictures. Because they're fascinated by what we do. Is that thing flying over the police? You bet your ass it is. The General Lee can fly. Trade Ideas AI flies in FinTech. We're the only flying car in FinTech. But now it gets really important, ladies and gentlemen. You're here for a reason. You're here to learn. You're here to be entertained. Brad, too. Scott, I can hear you eating the popcorn. And Barry. All right, guys. So listen here. We all have to trade, right? We got to get in there. We got to get out. Use the facilities. This is your brokerage. Brad, what's the brokerage? The boar's nest. What's a boar?
It's a bull.
What? God dang it, Brad, we got to fix your eyes. Boar's nest? That's a bull, you say? Boar's nest. Boar's a pig, Brad. Swine. Sow. Swine. Do you get the symbolism? Your brokerage is a little swiney. It's the boar's nest. Now here it comes again. We're stacking. We are going quick now. We're ramping up. This is important for you. So this is your broker. This is who owns your broker. Now look. Do you guys remember Boss Hogg? Brad, tell me a little bit about Boss Hogg.
I love Boss Hogg. Well, he controlled the town, didn't he?
He kind of controlled the town, yeah. So, but what was his like ethical standing?
Well, he was not an ethical guy. I think we can.
He wasn't an ethical guy. But I want to make sure though. But let's go back. But does he own something? What was the last slide there? It's a real business, isn't it, Brad?
Mm-hmm.
It's a real business. It's got all of its licenses and it gets alcohol. I mean, commissions here and whatever. Everything's legit. But your brokerage owner plays the role of Boss Hogg in your life. Whether you believe it or not, it is the truth. Can I interest you in some full service programs that we have, that we put everybody into? I'd like for you to be with everybody so you're not lonely. Okay. Brad, you see how we're working here?
Well, then you can be just like everybody else, right?
Everybody else. Are you understanding where I'm going here? So guys, in the world of finance, in the world of investing and trading, and you can throw IPOs in here and stuff like that, the guys that are supposed to be looking out for you, they're Roscoe Pico trained. They're not that bright, and they're subservient to Boss Hogg. Brad, have I missed anything?
God, you haven't. I haven't heard these names in so long. Roscoe, that's right.
Roscoe, and look at the faces. I mean, this is what you get. Damn, I'm good at this. This is what I do, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a storyteller. I'm telling you the story of real life finance and investing through Dukes of Hazzard. I don't think anyone else has done that yet in the history of webinar. But this is real. This is for real. Okay? So let's go back to the Dukes of Hazzard now. I'm just going to go back a little. Dan and Brad, bunch of good guys.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, pal? How are you? We're in the General League. Do you guys remember the show? Dan and Brad are fighting. Who do we fight?
Boss.
Do we fight Boss Hogg? Because why? Because Boss Hogg is always capering and causing problems. He's always doing stuff against, like, the good of Hazzard County. But by the way, notice how Hazzard County never, like, sends the FBI in to raid Boss Hogg, Madoff Hogg. Do you see what I'm saying again, Roscoe? Dan and Brad sitting there fighting crime, using the best technology that's ever been made that nobody else knows about because it's just owned by a couple good old boys, never meaning no harm. We're so tiny, we're invisible to some of these people. and they don't want you to know that this exists. Because if you could have a flying General Lee, well, you wouldn't need full service programs that they offer. Brad, is any of this making sense to you?
You know, I was a little skeptical when you started off here, but you know, it really does tie it very, very well. It ties it all together very nicely.
So this is your lesson in the world of fintech. Once you have access to the General Lee, you're able to do things that others can only imagine and then take pictures of. So on that note,
like the General Lee, you still have to drive it, right?
Absolutely. Bo and Luke are in it right now. Hey guys, welcome to the General. This is the General Lee. Trade ideas on the Artificial Intelligence channel. Do any of you trial people, did you take a look at this today? Were you too scared perhaps? Don't be afraid to say if you were. Anybody see it? Come on people. Come to Papa. Anybody watch the artificial intelligence that for the first time perhaps even? Did you see what it was doing? If not, if you weren't able to see it, it is possible that the Matrix has a spell on you.
Well, I think the AI, Holly here, every day really does its job almost every day in showing you how to find these great opportunities in the market, even when there's not necessarily always a lot going on in the broader markets.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that in today's world, information is, of course, everything. And to the metaphor of the General Lee, we don't have, Trade Ideas has no customers. People are not customers of Trade Ideas. They're not consumers. They are subscribers. They come to us because they want to, on their own volition, and subscribe to our understanding of the market and the way we visualize this data. These are signals that are delivered to you every day by our artificial intelligence, which is the General Lee, the most advanced trading engine in the world. A trading engine, however, that is not designed to suck the glass off of an aquarium like most things you hear about in the business end of finance, those fish that are on the glass just sucking the microbes, the high frequency traders, that things that the words that they use to scare you away from investing. No, this is the real deal. Again, the General Lee, a fighter for good, showing you signals and stocks that you can take an advantage of, that trade in a human way, which ends up being actually the most profitable way. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, people often get confused when they see so much information in pretty colors. Again, remember, you do not have to do all of the information that's here. You don't have to see it all. There's lots of different channels and lots of different ways to get started. And not only that, when I come back to the finish of this presentation, I will of course discuss all the free things that we do to make it easy for you to understand what it is that you're seeing. So do not worry. But because we kind of gave you the overall, the whole picture, you're able to see everything at once. The Dukes of Hazzard, the General, our artificial intelligence. We are the only technology company that shows you the signals on the chart when they have them, and we're not afraid when they don't work because we provide risk metrics. Everything we do allows you to see information in a way that you have never seen it before. For example, every stock you see in any time frame has a swing exit, so that you can potentially take advantage of more information. The software automatically shows you ideas without you doing anything. Notice my mouse is over here, and the software is updating by itself. Your brain is now subconsciously seeing properly marked visual trade data. This is important. You're learning whether you like to or not. That's the best way to learn. Think about being fluent in a language. How do you know how to speak English? Why does your tense work? A lot of people can't even explain it. I certainly can't. Not always, but I'm fluent in 2 languages, Russian and English. You want to feel trading much like you speak a foreign language fluently or any language fluently. You don't think about it. And so here we have different ways for you to see all this information without all the configuration. Surge, you can imagine that this is the Netflix channel. This is Netflix of the market. Surge, what could this mean, Brad? Well, it means, Brad, what could it mean?
What could it possibly mean? Well,
What
I mean,
could
look,
surge be?
like all of our channels, this one here is specifically looking for a theme, right? And this theme is a surge. It's a price surge, but also accompanied by some volume activity. So combining the two to create a surge.
That's right. You're seeing data the proper way. This is the way the market really looks like versus what most of the humans are presented with. We are given information in this Bloomberg, CNBC sort of way, pretending that that information that we're supposed to see there makes sense. But it is much more cargo cult. It doesn't really do anything, and you've been trained to look at it. And what we're doing now is breaking this information up into ways that you can thrive on it, capture returns that are so different from what you hear is possible, expose you to moves that you never thought were imaginable back to the general leaf lying. Remember, you don't need to understand everything. You are at a software company. You are at a data company. The software and data company takes market data and creates opportunities for you to see. There's nothing to do. You just watch. It's like TV. You don't sit there and tell Netflix what to do with it. I mean, you just pick a theme. This is the same concept. Short squeeze. Some of you may not know what that is, but for those of you that invest actively, you know that this is taking advantage of people who have bet on the downside. We just make it easy by doing all the configuration for you. So in terms of the basic things like finding a swing trade, okay, and finding opportunities and detecting opportunities, there's so much information that we have educationally all throughout the week, from Q&A webinar where you're here getting an overview, and usually when it's not an open house, Brad and I get into a lot of the details of some of the features that are coming. I'm doing less of that today, more on the summary. But you should, again, hopefully be able to see how cool everything is. You're watching the software. You do not have to understand. Thank you, Waleed. This notion of how people benefit from the stock market and especially data, it's very confused. There's a lot of philosophical elements to it, okay? And one of them is letting the data come to you, being in a zone. Alpha Predator, a channel that we have made for you that's looking for, Brad, I would say opportunity bursts. That's probably the best way to describe it. When all of a sudden something that didn't look very good all of a sudden becomes amazing.
Yeah, really having kind of a standout performance based upon how it normally trades.
Notice how when I put my mouse on a chart, the surfing stopped. And when I moved it away, now my mouse is over here, the software says, oh, okay, he's done looking at it. Let me keep training his eyes. The idea is automation. Automation of the mundane. The General Lee was built to fly, but you have to get in it. It's not going to fly without you getting in and letting it go. Example of AI signals. We put and show you what we do. People ask, someone had just asked me, I think Matthew Feldman it was, Matthew, you had said, show me a good example of a swing trade. This is a good example of a swing trade. It was something that was caught by our AI. It got people in, and the swing exit moves with the price, right, Brad? So that's another beautiful element for it. Everything is remembered. And here you had an opportunity to go from, let's see, where was the entry? 308 to 6 in a month and a half, 100%. Gregory, we appreciate your appreciation. We are not mentally encumbered by anything, or, well, we're always mentally elevated, but you have to understand, Brad and I, we're truth tellers. We're telling you guys the truth. The truth doesn't have to suck. It doesn't have to be boring. The Dukes of Hazzard is a great metaphor. What a great show it was. Back to swing trading. Back to some expectations. Back to why are you guys here? Why are you in the stock market? So let's talk about what does this, Brad, to me, one of the things I love about this chart right here is it solves and answers and does a lot of things like at once. I'm going to grab the corner of it to show you that trade ideas windows, you can size them, nothing's rigid, but we'll just talk about this real quick. So in terms of hazard trading, Brad, is buy and hold a good idea? Dang it, Brad, why did you?
What did I do?
Brad, after all that stuff, and then where'd it go? Right. And stop serving.
We're looking at Riot.
I'm back at it. So does this say buy and hold is a good idea or a bad idea?
Guess it depends on how long you're going to hold it for, right?
Brad, brilliant. That guy, you ask Luke Duke for help. Luke is going to help the shit out of you.
I'm just going to be honest, right?
And that's all we want. So it's relative, right, people? There's no stock answer. But if you are looking at a time machine, Brad, does
it's
it
like
seem
it never
like,
happened.
because the whole notion of buy and hold's faulty is the end. Hold. What does hold mean? Like, do you hold till the Messiah comes, till Western civilization falls, till Rome? What does that mean? It seems a little open-ended. Of course, buy and hold is the biggest lie you've been told. It cannot work because there has to be an ending to it. In this example, you're seeing you can spot some amazing trades. And look what happens if you just sit there.
Gets a little frothy at the top there, doesn't it?
Do you remember how I said the boar's nest is symbolic? Piggy, greed, lust, you know, there's a lot of symbology there. Finance can bring out the best in you, but it can certainly also bring out the worst. I'm not getting out here. Look, it's back. I'm not getting out here.
I've got such a great price. I can stay in it.
That's right. I'm staying in it forever. And guess what? Now you're back in it. Could be a buy opportunity now at 7. Again, you bought it, and look, you're averaging down. You have been lied to about all of this. That's why you're here. You're here for the proper information. Brad and I are telling you, Hazard County, the name, you don't get, it's like ecstasy. You don't get that name willy-nilly. You have to earn it. Hazard County. Remember the webinar. Okay, hold on one second, guys. Brad, talk.
What? All right, well, we're on the short squeeze channel, but Yeah, guys. I mean, you're really the thing about trade ideas. What we do here is we're taking in all this regular market data, the data that you're all kind of used to. What's the stock's last price and how much volume it's done. But it's what we do with that data that allows us to shape it and offer you this information through these channels. We create what's called what we call derived data. And like if we were on the social media channel, it's a great example of the derived data that we have, because we're not only listening to the stock market, we're listening to the Twitter sphere, we're listening to what people are talking about, and then we're keeping benchmarks. And those benchmarks, whether it's how much has the stock moved over the last 5 minutes, or how much volume has traded over the last 30 minutes for that stock, or how much is it being talked about compared to normal. These are all the things that we keep, and by having that notion of what's normal, when something crazy happens or something out of the norm happens, we can deliver it through this tech right here. And we do it in a lot of different windows, whether it's a list-based type of window like we've got here with the T on it, or whether it's an event-based window that we have with an A, where something's going to happen, and when that happens, it's going to give you that notification. I mean, that's what we do. We're here to spot opportunities and deliver them to you.
And deliver them amazingly. Brad, no, thank you. It's important stuff, because that's kind of more of the nitty gritty. But I want to kind of jump back a little bit to the artificial intelligence and why it's so important. So you see all these lines that are drawn here, and all that Brad said that that we do, where we're watching this data, and we can have this data visualized in all these ways, and we watch it and we watch it and we look at it. And by say we, I mean technologically speaking, our software is going through all of these events, okay? And so right now, while we are all in a presentation listening to my poetry, the software is working. What's it doing? It's doing what none of us want to do. It's going through all of these trades as possible scenarios, and it's recalculating what's going on. What are the odds of this happening? Oh, and cool, we have been going down, but this unusual thing happened right after this unusual thing happened. I'm going to have to add this to my bank of quote unquote scenarios. Okay. So what the AI does is it gives you these signals throughout the day that are statistically viable. They've been filtered. The software studied all these moves. It did what you and I would want to do, and then it found the stocks that best met the statistical criteria to allocate funds to them. That's the analysis. We do what the MIT card counting team did for blackjack, but we do it in the stock market, and we're the only ones in the world that do it, because we're the only ones in the world that have our data. The reason that you're here, and the reason you have an advantage, is because Trade Ideas, as a vendor, as a maker of technology, the people that you will soon be subscribing to, we create our own custom data. Brad, do you want to maybe elaborate a little bit on that? Because you were touching upon it through the social media, but talk about like the minutes and then the formula and like what, you know, what some of the layers.
Well, I'm not sure exactly where you want me to go, but I will tell you, I want to talk about this specifically here with respect to the AI and how we do it, because I see Callie's asking some questions with respect to, you know, how does the AI work and what is the nitty gritty? And while you said that kind of behind the scenes right now we're working, but what is it that we're really doing? And we created about 10 years ago a technology that we call the odds maker. And the odds maker is an event-based backtesting tool that allows you as a user to go through and kind of take a strategy, an idea that you've created, and optimize it and make it better. And this was a great piece of technology that we developed, but we found that it was really labor intensive to do. And so we created this AI system here that goes through about 40 different strategies that we've created. So base strategies with different concepts. One nice chart is looking at something that's got a nice chart. Quarterback is getting in on a pullback. All of these have different themes. So these are all base strategies. And after the close every single day, our servers are crunching these different strategies, looking at all the filters that we have. You know, like I said, we had that social media percentage of normal, but we've got hundreds of different filters. Some are very, very specialized. And so we're going through those filters And it's identifying, wow, if I change this filter and put a value here, how does that change the overall success of the strategy? And what if I limit my pricing to no more than $80? And what if I only trade at this particular time during the day? How's this going to work out? So it's running through these millions of different hypothetical, scenarios. And at the end of the day, this evening, when it's done with all those optimizations, it's going to compare these various statistics with each other. What's the win rate of these different strategies? What's the profit factor of the strategies? What's the average winner to average loser? And it's going to go through that, and it's going to identify the best of the best, those strategies from which are going to be available tomorrow. So what we have here today, what we're looking at today, is the results of yesterday's combine, and the strategies had all been optimized, ready for today. And then when today started, we had no idea which symbols were going to be triggered. It's only when all of the filtered criteria and the alert gets triggered, when all that happens simultaneously, then a trade is generated. And we have a couple windows that are open, and when a new trade idea is generated, it's going to pop into the open position, and it's going to stay there until it tells you to get out of it. And we do a couple things that are super unique. We're keeping track of the P&L of these positions. Well, we keep track of two different P&Ls of these positions. The P&L when you get out of it, what was the success and the profitability of that particular trade, and the P&L if you were to hold it through the end of the day. And that's a kind of a two different scenarios, but there are tons of different scenarios in between, right? In between getting out and holding to the end of the day. And there were a lot of great examples today of stocks that just had tremendous moves and ended up pulling back at the close. So,
Brad,
I don't know, did that explain a little bit, Dan?
I think it was great. I wanted to kind of show, someone said, well, how does it work? Well, imagine what I'm showing you is a trade that's happening like one at a time. And when you see the exit time here, that's the risk off exit. So if you did all of these exits without holding on a little bit longer, you would have made $1.07 perfectly. Otherwise, the risk on was $1.28, but had gone up to 5 twice. So first trade was WSM. And this is one of the things that, Brad, I thought was actually excellent for people to see, because it showcases something simple. A lot of times you do something, you get in, there's your trade, hello. It happens all the time. You have to be prepared for this mentally. Most people are not. If you're attached to outcome, then we have not red-pilled you in terms of how to do it. This is a systems approach. You cannot be outcome based, okay? Stop hit, everything's fine because we are working according to plan. Let's keep going. Next trade, Altera, short. Important thing happening here, okay? Very important thing. Number one, you're seeing that the software tells you can make money both ways. Do you know how hard that is? To have a long short. I mean, this is what hedge funds do, long short. But since Brad and I know how hedge funds work, you don't want to give them money. Okay. But here's a technology that's saying, hey, this one's setting up on the long side statistically. Here's one setting up on the short side statistically. This trade, Altera, let's take a look at it. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring, let me move this here. Notice again that I can do some cool stuff with the windows to just move things around. They're very malleable, pliable. Okay, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to move, no, I'll leave that here. Okay. So this was your Altera short sell. This is what it looked like. You got short here. This was your stop. 994, stop instantly visible on the chart when you're following the AI, so you know what's going on. And then this is what happened. And then you bought it back. Risk off 71 cents on a timed exit. Brad, what's a timed exit?
So every one of these strategies has a particular time horizon in it, just because that's how we created the odds maker with that particular bit of functionality. So the power hour long, I think, has a 30-minute time horizon. So if you don't get stopped out, if you don't, well, I'm not sure exactly what the downward dog, but if you don't get stopped out, if you don't have a risk reduce, or you don't hit a profit target, then you're going to get that timed exit, and that's going to be the criteria for your exit.
And also, that's how the timed exits are sometimes necessary as an assumption to help you build strategies blackjack style, so you can calculate odds. So this is where we do the science and the math for you so that you don't have to worry about it. William Woodward, I'm not really sure what stocks to trade is. We show you all the stocks to trade. Okay, next trade, IONS. 46, I'm sorry, entry price of 45.83. IONS, that was the trade, your third trade, a long one, and your risk off profit was 76 cents. So if you add these up, 97 minus 41, you're up 56 cents in like fairly quickly. Okay. Next trade. So this is a good example, EGN. This is what it looked like. Bought it here, stop.
So wait, let's talk about this one here for a second, because this is really important to understand. And when I talk to people about the AI signals, you know, they're not red light, green light signals. They do require a little bit of critical thinking. And like when we said earlier, we have each one of these strategies has a time stop. So we're going to get out of that particular trade in a risk off mode every single time at that time stop if nothing else has occurred. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you should be getting out of it. Maybe it's time to take a little profit. Maybe it's time just to take a more critical look at it. But it's something to notice. And oftentimes, those are the particular positions that keep continuing up. So we're going to keep track of two P&Ls. Like I said earlier, we keep track of where it is at that risk off point where we got out of the timed exit. We keep track of it all the way to the end of the day, but there's a whole lot that happens in between. And so this is where being a trader, being a successful trader, helps you really, you know, make this trade even more successful.
Joanne, get rid of all the indicators. You don't need them. This is all you need. Okay, back to the story. And I'm going slow, but this is the way that it's great because you can see ESRX was the next trade. So you bought this candle, 1, 2, 3, 4 candles to really start going, never getting too bad, maybe down 20 cents at the worst. And then, see ya. This is what the AI does. This is why you're subscribing. Do you guys get the idea? Like, again, we can't fake it. It all happens in real time. There are people here in this webinar that have seen it, and they're honest, and they would tell you if we are completely full of it. We are the only company in the world that is doing what we're doing. Next trade, WRD. Bought right here, a little bit of consolidation, had a nice pop. Sold right here on a timed exit. Continued much higher and then pulled back right to the entry. Also a great example of just what happens to a trade. It's not all just smooth sailing upward. Understand the volatility is the price of admission. Scoot down a little bit. Next trade. APAC. Do we only trade penny stocks? Obviously the answer is no, because look at what we're trading. This is statistics. Look at this beautiful game. Look at where you're at in terms of P&L since, dang it, since you started. 41 minus, so you had a loser first, but that's the whole point about not being results oriented. It's not that type of a game. Minus 41 plus 11 plus 23 plus 77 plus 87 plus 3 plus 75. Do you guys get it? Brad, shake them up. They've all fainted.
I don't know about that. Are you asking a question?
See, Waleed gets me. That's it. I'm bringing Waleed as my assistant next time, Brad. If you're not careful, I'm seeing talent. He gets me. What I'm trying to show, and Waleed would speak for me if he could, is that, ladies and gentlemen, we are showing you the kind of results. It's like Tiger Woods is giving you a golf clinic. You want to go golfing with Tiger. Why? Because he's really good. It helps you to watch people that are better than you because we learn by imitation. You watch the AI trade. You watch what it does, even on the mistakes. Okay? They are good learning experiences. Don't be results oriented, be systems oriented. Do what the numbers say, and just like in blackjack, it's a numbers game. I don't need to go through all of the trades because you see the results. And notice, we had gone, Brad, as high as 5, all the way back to like 170, back to probably close to 420, and then down to 128 because there was a big pullback.
Yeah, great opportunities today, yesterday and the day before.
That brings me to, notice Barry's window. There's a channel. Lots of cool stuff, actually. I'm going to show you something real quick for the noobs. Let me get rid of this thing. Welcome screen. New welcome screen. You guys don't have all this garbage, but welcome screen happens. It's a great way to get oriented with the software. Notice it works. So I can click on any of these and things happen. I can go and look at what's a strategy, what's an alert window. The help takes you to the videos where you can listen to Brad Boduke explain to you what some of this stuff does. And we're adding information here. So you can see what all the things are. What is this window? What's the cloud? What's this window? What's this window? You start to put it all together. All that you have, all that you need. It's all there. Side-by-side images are very good to understand how to draw conclusions. Keith, we are the real-time news. You don't need real-time news with trade ideas. We are the real-time news. From this window, you can go and get anything you want. Launch 52-week highs. Remember what Brad said about the back testing. Are 52-week highs a good strategy that you hold for an hour?
You're only looking at 1 minute time frame there, though, buddy.
That's okay.
Okay.
But we are able to answer these questions. Your channel bar, it follows you around every time you click on stocks that you're interested in other channels and you add them to your my liked symbols. This is my customized symbols that I like, where I've seen some stuff, where I've seen the AI do some amazing things. So this is, again, just, Brad, you know, I want to just hug it. I want to get in the general and fly. When I see this, it makes me proud, and I know that we're doing a good thing. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, I never said that we're right about everything. I just said that we give you the right data and also the right way to manage the risk. For detailed questions, there is a ton of support. People ask, like, well, Dan, okay, I saw this, then how do I add my own stuff? Just a right click, create a price alert, and type in your own little note to it, and boom, whoa, this looks good. Now it's there, and it'll always be available for you. So now you're marked everywhere. You can see the swing exit. Do you want to get in here and really hold on to it? Well, if you want to be doing it and test yourself, this is your line in the sand, the red line that you don't want crossed. All of this is available.
Oops, sorry, buddy.
No, it's okay, buddy. I'm popping back. So do you guys see what I was saying about the flying General Lee? Do you guys see I showed you the clouds, the jet thrusters? Your account, your broker, the people looking out for you? Not really. Yeah, they're not really looking out. But by the way, Brad, and this is something very important about the Dukes of Hazzard. If you recall, and you know you're just a little bit older than I am, so you should have seen it syndication. Oftentimes, even though we know that Boss Hogg is, well, you know, not the most moral guy, but do the Duke boys help him?
Yeah, they kind of like him.
Well, I don't know if they like him, but from time to time, they've rescued Boss Hogg too. And Roscoe. Brad and I have presented to the SEC in Washington, D.C. to help them find trading abuses and all sorts of interesting stuff. You guys didn't know the Duke boys did that, but we did. Brad, recall?
Yes, I do recall.
We were in Washington presenting, saying, guys, if you want to have some really cool technology to help you spot unusual behavior in the market and then see what's going on, we can help you with that. They said, no, thanks. We'll just use the high frequency stuff we got here. You see the conversation Boss and Roscoe are having? So the Duke boys of Trade Ideas are helping all of FinTech. We're helping the Boar's Nest because with the Boar's Nest full of money, the customers are happy, Boss Hogg is happy, Uncle Jesse's happy, everybody's happy, and we have just shown you how we do it with the AI. We go into the past. We study the past in a way that the FBI, the CIA looks for serial killers. But we do it mathematically, and the best analogy is, of course, the card counters in blackjack. That's how using the past to prove the future. You guys are in the middle of this, the test drive. We have 7 hours. Scott, you're amazing. Is this correct? Brad, does this thing work? Time looks like it's working.
That's technology right there.
Man, I'm impressed with that guy. You can still get in on the test drive. I shouldn't have to convince you, but I'm telling you, we are the most sought after product in the world by people that know. No, we're the anti-Bloomberg. In terms of value per pixel, we are the anti-Bloomberg. Well, you bet your ass. They only
most value per pixel, huh?
Yeah, we are the most value per pixel, baby. Premium access, 5 full days. Scott has been doing amazing stuff, putting everything together, making sure you're getting the proper emails. This is a trade-ideas.com test drive. For those of you who are getting additional information, we have a trade-ideas.com/ebook, how to work around a market that is not just buy and hold and pray. Okay, where you're not buying every single dip. There's some stuff that's about to happen, guys. And if you are with Trade Ideas, you're going to be first to when it happens. But there is some stuff, and it's about to happen. Brad, isn't that great? Some stuff is about to happen. I want to end it here because my compadre of the Canadian persuasion, Barry Anderson, leader of our trading room, who is doing an incredible job every single day giving people the kind of treatment that both Brad and I and anyone who is in investing should long for in terms of being acclimated to a positive win-win environment. It's a meritocracy of some of the best Trade Ideas users, observers, and of course Barry himself, who moderates. Very proud of what we do there. It's a free community. It does not require any subscription, but you get to see the software in action and you see what we do. We don't hide anything. When we're down, we are down. We don't switch screens. There's no bait and switch. You can't bait and switch the General Lee. General's orange. Brad? So the free trading room, trade-ideas.com/trading room. I've talked a little bit about on my podcasts and stuff like that, that there is a trade to be had on some of the big tech names to the downside. And as a gift that is for everybody, just to see if you're aware of it, this is it. This is my plan with where the risk is limited, so that you're not exposed to infinity. How to take advantage of a gigantic down move in some of the big tech stocks through options. This is a thank you for coming to visit and listening to me tell you about the Dukes of Hazzard and Finance. What is the price of our subscription? Why are so many people doing it? Well, because it's delicious. That's what I think, Brad. And we have a promo code for you, Spring for Holly, 15% off the first month, or of course a year of premium or standard service. This is the daily breakdown of how much our software costs, just so you can see. Well, we just showed you, this it is per day on the yearly, monthly, standard, premium. Is it worth lunch? We think so. One of the things that we do to continue to provide value is give you different ways that we perceive the whole environment of the market, fintech. That's why we like to do entertaining themes like the Dukes of Hazzard. Well, we do a podcast on Friday where myself and one of our partners, Jamie Hodge, who's the leader of our educational group, we talk about all sorts of things, including big future innovations that are coming up. And again, while Brad and I didn't touch on too many of them today, you already should be seeing how far ahead we are. So please take a look. Our podcast, Trade Ideas Podcast, it's available on iTunes, and you will have that information on where to sign up. We're easy to get a hold of on Twitter at Trade Ideas 1 and our corporate account at Trade Ideas. This is me, where you get all sorts of crazy stuff. We just broke the Inc. 5000 last year, and we're about to break it all this year. Please like us on Facebook. And if you need to email us, dan@trade-ideas.com, and of course, info@trade-ideas.com. My good buddy and I really appreciate you being here. It's tough to have a boring subject like the stock market, because it can be boring, but not when we get through with it. We want you to come with us and fly, okay? This is us. This is what we do. What?
Let's go take a spin.
When we get off of this, Brad and I are taking the bad boy on a spin. Yeehaw! Scott, what do we got?
It sounds good. Anyone got any questions, just send us an email, info@trade-ideas.com, and we'll have the recording up later on tonight or tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time, and good driving.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Have a good one.